Week 6 of college football. We thought it couldn't get crazier than week 5 did. Week 6 was supposed to be the quiet before the storm. Week 7 and 8 with that packed schedule, but it turns out the storm came early, you know.
Right. That's a good way to say it. The storm came early. Nobody expected four of the top 10
Yeah.
teams to go down, almost five.
With Miami escaping at 2 a.m. in the morning on the east side. Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody was looking at that and expecting the game to go that way. Cal, you didn't hold up your end of the bargain as far as making it just utter crazy
Yeah.
chaos. But even without that, man, this is the reason you cannot turn away. You got to stay tuned in to college football every Saturday.
Yeah.
Every Saturday.
And I had taken out a piece from last week's video at the end saying, if you want to take a break off of college football, take it this week, because I thought that this week was supposed to be a cool down week.
Yeah.
Nothing was supposed to happen this week. It was like one ranked matchup, one between Missouri and Texas A&M, but that didn't matter because the unranked teams came to play and upsets. It was some huge upsets in college football.
The ranked game was probably one of the most boring games.
Yeah.
Of the weekend.
Of the week, yeah, most definitely. So to recap week 6, we're going to start with an honorable mention. Ohio State has made a right on Baldwin Street. Now, if you don't know what Baldwin Street is, it's a street in New Zealand, and it's the Guinness Book of World Records steepest street in the world.
Yeah.
But yes, Ohio State has entered that thick of their schedule.
Good comparison.
They just played Iowa. Slow start, only 7 points in the first half.
Yeah.
But they turned it on in the second half and, got the right momentum they need going into this game against Oregon. But they have to go to Oregon.
Well, now before we go there, one thing I liked about that start against Iowa, though, is the defense came ready to play.
Yes,
the offense was slow in getting things going, but the defense came ready to play. They held Johnson, who
was talking. He was
talking, and he was one of the leaders in rushing.
Yeah, he was right behind Genty. Well, not right behind him, but he was second.
Yeah,
to Genty.
They held him to 19 yards in the first half. That's really an impressive stat.
Yeah, that's really good. The Ohio State defense, they looked good in the entire game. The offense started out slow, but came along in the second half. Mm-hmm. Another great play by Jeremiah Smith. What else is new?
Exactly.
But yeah, they've made it to the thick of their schedule. They've got to go to Oregon this week in a 2-3 matchup. That's going to be a great game. Mm-hmm. Then they get a bye. Then they have to play Nebraska at home. Mm-hmm. They don't have to go to Nebraska.
And you got to say that they're lucky about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have to play at Penn State, which whiteout game. And somebody made a great point. They said if Texas loses to Georgia and then Ohio State handles business, Penn State handles business, then we could have a Penn State-Ohio State 1-2 match in what could be a whiteout. That would be incredible.
If both of those teams are undefeated at the time that they play and Georgia beats Texas, then you cannot not have Ohio State and Penn State 1-2.
Yeah. But Indiana, they're looking really good this season. They've started out strong, got a great quarterback. Mm-hmm. They have to play Indiana right before they have to play Michigan. That could be 2 back-to-back tough games again. So Ohio State, you've made it right on Baldwin Street, but it was a good start against Iowa, I'd say. And it was crazy. Some dude from ESPN, a journalist, said Ohio State, they have to come out of this game from Iowa looking at it as a loss. And everybody's calling for his head, and I am too, because he needs to be fired. I don't know why he would say that. That's crazy. I understand it was a slow start, but a loss? I mean, you won 35-7. Come on.
I would have to see the whole article to understand his point.
Oh, no, that was the whole article. And then he got into talking about other teams. Yeah, fire that guy immediately and give me his job because I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, Ohio State, we'll see how you guys can get through the rest of the schedule. To get to our number 5 takeaway, though, it's time that we put some respect on Vandy's name. Last week, we bashed Missouri, or 2 weeks ago, however long ago it was, we bashed Missouri for almost losing to Vandy. Mm-hmm. We've constantly talked about Vandy being the laughing stock of the SEC.
Mm-hmm. And that's your bye week.
Yeah. And then the little brother snuck the big brother and somehow took him down in a David versus Goliath matchup, really.
That's a good comparison. And little brother David Goliath, and just like you were saying, I would even say the programs themselves look at Vandy as
you heard Nick
Saban
week. Say it. Nick Saban said every place in the SEC is tough to play except Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt took that personally.
Yeah. So you know Vanderbilt was supposed to be the bye week, but now more and more that SEC is having to recognize that we better stay up for Vanderbilt because they're not the basement anymore.
Yeah,
these guys are trying to crawl up from the basement and get into that middle tier of the SEC.
Yeah,
I like to see it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And then staying on track with the SEC, our number 4 point, anyone can win the SEC.
Yep.
Everybody's starting to beat up on each other, similar to how the Pac-12 did last year. Lucky for them, it's a 14 playoff instead of 12 this year. But yeah, anybody can win the SEC. Ole Miss lost, Bama lost, Georgia lost. Everybody's lost. Missouri, I don't think you're a contender. Texas A&M. Texas is the only team in the conference that has been consistent through these weeks.
Yeah. Because Georgia had to let down against Kentucky. They ended up winning the game, but still their performance was much, much subpar. Or was it subpar? Because now you got a question. Is Kentucky really like that?
Yeah, you don't know. They might end up being one of the best teams in the SEC. Right. We might not know it yet.
SEC is proving their mettle this year in college football, at least up to this point.
So, yeah, anyone can win the SEC. Right now, it's really a toss-up for me.
Yeah, it's too close to call. Before I had in my mind that, Ole Miss and Texas were my two that I believed were going to take the SEC. Ole Miss goes down with a loss. Texas, they haven't lost yet, but the way this season is going, you can't put it in the books just yet.
And then everyone overreacted and said it was Bama last week. Even I was thinking Bama's the front runner. They go on and lose to Vandy. So the SEC is a toss-up right now. But to get to our number 3 point, Miami is bound for an upset.
Oh, yeah.
They almost lost to Virginia Tech 2 weeks ago. Probably should have lost. That call might have been a touchdown. I don't see enough to overturn it. Still debated to this day. And then last week, I was up until 2 a.m. trying to figure out if they were going to actually come back or lose against Cal. They ended up coming back. But, yeah, this Miami team is bound for upset this year.
Yeah, and we've seen it in the past. So that's what we don't even have to go in the distant past. We can just look at last year.
When they lost to Georgia Tech.
When they lost to Georgia Tech, a loss they had no business taking. I think you're right on point. I look for them to lose the ACC. If they don't lose sometime during the season, which, before I even go out there, in the season, my thoughts are they better watch out for that Louisville team.
Yeah.
They better watch out for Syracuse.
Yeah.
The Fighting Cow Cords, they're
putting
good
on the show. Yeah, they just beat UNLV, who we thought could win the group of 5.
Yeah.
They said, hey, now, Syracuse is legit.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing out of Kyle McCord in that setting.
Yeah.
I still don't think he was the quarterback for Ohio State.
Yeah.
But in that setting, yeah, they are using his skill set in a very, very good way. And that makes them a dangerous squad because their defense is giving up points.
Yeah.
But their offense is keeping them in it with scoring points as well. So, hey, now that's the two that I think might get them.
But we mentioned Georgia Tech last year. Georgia Tech might get them again this year. Georgia Tech is a team that we know could get some upsets.
So. Yeah. But let's say unexpectedly, because I'm going to say unexpectedly, Miami gets all the way to the ACC championship. Undefeated, right. I look for Clemson to probably be the team that's there to see them, and I look for Clemson to take them out.
Now, I don't know who's going to make the ACC championship. I think it'll be one of 3 teams. Clemson, or maybe not even 3. I'll say 5 for right now.
Whoa.
5 teams. I know it's shocking. I'm going to say it could be Miami, Clemson, Syracuse, SMU, or Duke.
Forgot about SMU.
Those are the 5 I'm going to put out there. But I think that Miami will stumble before the ACC championship game, and my pick is going to be Duke. I think this Duke team is pretty good, and I think they're going to be the team to upset Miami. If it's not Duke, it'll be Syracuse. But at some point in this season, Miami is bound to lose. But to get to our number 2 takeaway, is it time to close the book on the Group of 5 race? We talked about it all last week and the weeks before, how the Group of 5 race is so interesting,
wide open,
and then all those teams kind of just fell off except Boise State.
Yep,
Boise State is the clear front runner to win the Group of 5 race to the playoff. But even though UNLV lost, I still think they're a decent team. They could give Boise State some trouble. But even with the loss to UNLV, James Madison took a bad loss. And then you have a Liberty team sitting out there that's undefeated that hasn't looked that strong. So Boise State is the clear front runner right now. I think they're going to get there. I think it's time to close the book. Ashton Jeanty will be in the college football playoff.
Yeah. I don't see anybody being able to compete with that run game that Boise is putting on the field. So that's going to be the problem for these other schools, is being able to slow Jeanty down. Just, slow him down, bring him into control. You're not going to stop him. Don't even put that up on your board. You need to control him in order to try to win that game. But I don't really see anybody that could do it. Initially, I thought Washington State was the school that would do it. Yeah, that was my upset of that week, and didn't happen.
Yeah, Jeanty ran all over them too.
Man, stumped them. Barring an injury to Jeanty, I don't really see Boise State not making it to the CFP.
Yeah. Now, to get to our number 1 point, welcome to the apocalypse season of college football. A lot of people are comparing this season to 2007. I have a different comparison, even though it's a lot like 2007. I'm going to compare this season to The Walking Dead. Now, I know a lot of people might be trying to click off the video right now, but I'm going to compare this season to The Walking Dead, and here's why. If you've seen The Walking Dead show, the powerhouses, I'm going to compare the powerhouse schools, the teams that we know are good, to the groups. There's a lot of different groups in The Walking Dead, and eventually they fight each other. One comes out on top, just like Alabama and Georgia did. But then you have the small schools, and the small schools are my zombies. The zombies they were a big factor early in The Walking Dead, and then they kind of got forgot about, but they still surprised some people and killed off some characters that we thought weren't going to die. So the small schools are the zombies. Let's talk about the zombies of college football. Vanderbilt upset Alabama. That's a zombie. Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame. That's a zombie. Kentucky beat Ole Miss. That's a zombie. Minnesota beat USC. That's a zombie. I'm comparing this season to The Walking Dead. This is the apocalypse. You never know what's going to happen, just like The Walking Dead. So this is the apocalypse season.
It was a stretch, but I followed you on it. Okay.
And if you really listen, it makes sense.
Yes.
It makes sense.
It took me a minute to get there, but I do see how you got there.
Yeah, so this is the apocalypse season. Absolutely no one is safe. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You could be playing the Sisters of the Poor. It doesn't matter. Your team is on upset alert at all times. That's our week 6 takeaways. Week 7, we said it pretty much every week. We could come back looking at a completely different college football landscape.
Yep.
And that's what happened this week. Will it happen again in week 7? I don't know. Our prediction video will be coming out soon. But that's our week 6 takeaways. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you on the next one.